Hi everyone, I'm Maya, and welcome to our chat today. I'm so excited to be here with my wonderful friends Sarah, Jennifer, Emily, and Chloe. We've got a lot of delicious things to talk about, so let's dive right in. So, I recently had an episode while preparing a dish for a local food festival here in Florida. I was all set to make my famous zucchini fritters, which are a huge hit with the crowd. They're crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, and packed with the fresh flavor of zucchini, one of my favorite vegetables to work with. But as I was getting everything ready, I realized I had a problem. No zucchini! There was a sudden shortage at the farmer's market that morning, and I was in a bit of a panic. Zucchini is such a versatile vegetable. It's a type of summer squash with a mild flavor, and it can be used in everything from soups and salads to pasta dishes and baked goods. Here in Florida, we're lucky to have zucchini almost year-round, and I love using it to make dishes like zucchini bread, grilled zucchini, and of course my zucchini fritters. The dish I was preparing, the zucchini fritters, was for a community event where I wanted to showcase the best of local, seasonal produce. It's a simple but flavorful dish that really lets the zucchini shine, with a bit of onion, herbs, and a light batter to hold it all together. But with no zucchini, I'd had to get creative. So instead of just swapping in another vegetable, I decided to take a completely different approach. I turned to some of the other fresh ingredients I had on hand, corn and sweet potatoes, and created a new dish, corn and sweet potato fritters. I still used some of the same herbs and spices that I normally would with the zucchini, but I also added a touch of smoked paprika and a sprinkle of lime zest to give it a unique twist. The result was amazing. The sweetness of the corn and sweet potatoes paired beautifully with the smoky, citrusy notes, and the fritters were a hit at the festival. It was a great reminder that sometimes challenges in the kitchen can lead to unexpected and delicious new creations.
Maya, I just love how you handled that. The way you turned what could have been a disaster into a completely new dish is so inspiring. I can just imagine how those corn and sweet potato fritters must have tasted with that hint of lime zest. It's so true that cooking is about being resourceful and creative. I'm curious though, how did your customers react to the change?
Thanks, Sarah. Honestly, I was a bit nervous at first, but people loved it. Many of them came back for seconds and even asked for the recipe. It was a great feeling to know that they enjoyed something new and unexpected.
That sounds incredible, Maya! Your ability to adapt is truly impressive. It's clear that your passion for fresh, local ingredients really shines through in your cooking. I'm thinking about how sweet potatoes add such a wonderful texture and sweetness. What a perfect pairing with the corn. I'd love to try making something like that on my farm one day.
I absolutely agree, Jennifer. Maya, your creativity is so inspiring. I'm always looking for new ways to use seasonal ingredients in my baking, and your story reminds me that flexibility in the kitchen can lead to amazing results. I bet those fritters were a burst of flavor. I'm also curious, do you think you'll keep this new recipe in your regular rotation?
I think I will, Emily. The response was so positive that I'd hate not to. Plus, it's a great reminder for me to stay open to experimenting, even when things don't go as planned.
Maya, you are such a culinary genius. I'm in awe of how you took a tricky situation and turned it into something completely fresh and exciting. Your corn and sweet potato fritters sound divine. I love the idea of adding a smoky paprika and lime zest. I think it's moments like these that really show the magic of cooking. I've got to ask, what inspired you to choose those particular ingredients in the heat of the moment?
Thanks so much, Chloe. Honestly, it was a mix of intuition and what I'd had available. I knew I wanted to keep that balance of flavors and textures that zucchini offers, and sweet potatoes and corn were the closest matches I had on hand. The idea to add paprika and lime zest just came as I was thinking about how to bring out the natural sweetness and give it a little kick. It was a bit of a risk, but I'm so glad it paid off.
I completely agree with you, Maya. Your creativity is truly inspiring. Now, when it comes to buying zucchini, one critical criterion I always consider is the firmness of the vegetable. I usually buy zucchini when it's freshly harvested from my farm, often for dishes like grilled zucchini or a refreshing zucchini salad. Firmness is key. because it indicates freshness and quality. A firm zucchini will have a crisp texture and hold up well when cooking. It's important to avoid zucchini that feels soft or has any spots, as this can be a sign that it's starting to spoil.
You're spot on, Jennifer. Firmness is so important. I also look at the skin when I'm buying zucchini, especially here in California, where we get such vibrant produce. I like to pick zucchini that is smooth, shiny skin with a rich green color. This is usually a good indicator that the zucchini is fresh and hasn't been sitting around for too long. I use zucchini a lot in my garden-to-table recipes, like zucchini noodles or stuffed zucchini, so I'm always on the lookout for that perfect, vibrant skin. A dull or wrinkled skin is a sign that the zucchini might be past its prime.
I completely agree, Sarah. And while we're talking about freshness, I also check the size of the zucchini when I'm at the farmer's market here in Washington. I find that smaller zucchini tend to be more tender and flavorful, which is perfect for the baked goods I love to make, like zucchini muffins or bread. Larger zucchini can sometimes be more fibrous and less sweet, so I usually go for the smaller ones. Especially if I'm planning to grate them into a recipe, people should be cautious with overly large zucchini, as they can be tougher and not as tasty.
Absolutely, Emily. Size does matter. Another thing I pay attention to is the weight of zucchini. A good fresh zucchini should feel heavy for its size. This usually means it's full of moisture and will have a nice juicy texture. I've noticed this especially when I'm shopping at the farmers markets here in New York. The zucchini feels light. It might be drying out inside, which isn't ideal for dishes like zucchini fritters or a fresh zucchini ribbon salad. So always go for the ones that feel a bit heftier in your hand.
You all make excellent points. One last thing I'd add is the stem end of the zucchini. When I'm picking out zucchini for my food truck dishes, I always check the stem. A fresh zucchini should have a green and firm stem. If the stem is dry or shriveled, it's likely that the zucchini isn't as fresh. This is especially important when I'm making something like my zucchini fritters, where the freshness of the zucchini really shines through. A dry stem could mean the zucchini has been sitting for too long and might not have that crisp, fresh taste.
If zucchini isn't available, I often turn to yellow squash as an alternative here in Texas. It's similar in texture and flavor to zucchini, though it has a slightly sweeter taste. I've used it in everything from stir-fries to soups, and it's always a reliable substitute. However, zucchini has a firmer texture that holds up better in certain dishes, so you might need to adjust cooking times when using yellow squash.
That's a great choice, Jennifer. In California, I sometimes use eggplant as an alternative, especially in dishes like ratatouille or grilled vegetable platters. Eggplant has a more robust flavor and a meatier texture compared to zucchini, so it can add a different dimension to the dish. However, eggplant absorbs a lot of moisture, so it can change the texture of the final dish if you're not careful.
I love both of those options. Here in Washington, I often use pattypan squash as a substitute for zucchini. It has a similar mild flavor, but is a bit denser and firmer, which makes it great for baking or grilling. Pattypan squash holds its shape really well, so it's perfect for dishes where you want the squash to be the star. The downside is that it can be a little harder to find, especially out of season.
In New York, I sometimes substitute zucchini with cucumbers, especially in salads or cold dishes. Cucumbers are much crisper and have a refreshing taste, but they don't hold up well to heat, so I wouldn't use them in cooked dishes. Zucchini has a unique ability to be both tender when cooked and firm enough to use raw, which is hard to replicate with other vegetables.
Those are all fantastic alternatives. Here in Florida, I like to use chayote squash if I can't get zucchini. It's a bit firmer and has a slightly crisper texture, but it's very versatile and works well in both raw and cooked dishes. Chayote has a milder flavor compared to zucchini, so I sometimes add a bit more seasoning to bring out its taste. However, zucchini's softness and subtle sweetness are hard to beat, especially in fritters and baked dishes. Wow, what a great discussion. We've talked about everything from managing shortages to the best criteria for selecting zucchini, and even explored some excellent alternatives. Jennifer highlighted the importance of firmness, Sarah focused on the skin, Emily talked about the size, Chloe mentioned the weight, and I added the stem end as a critical point to consider. We also discussed how yellow squash, eggplant, pattypan squash, cucumbers, and chayote can be used as substitutes when zucchini isn't available. Thank you all so much for sharing your insights and experiences. This has been such a rich and informative conversation. And with that, I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. It's been such a pleasure chatting with my amazing friends about all things zucchini. We hope you've enjoyed it and picked up some useful tips. Until next time, keep cooking with love and creativity. Bye for now.